Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central. CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and we got another Week 11 preview coming up right up as the Toronto Argonauts take on the Edmonton Elks. Edmonton going into this game with a 6-3 record, Toronto 4-4. Edmonton off a loss to the Alouettes last week, and Toronto with a big win to get them back up to 500. I guess, Rick, shall we go directly into the injury reports? I think we get right into this one.
Yeah, why not? So for Toronto, John Haggerty, punter, hamstring still out. Ryan Hunter is questionable, offensive line with a knee. Brian Hurley Mayala, linebacker, hamstring questionable. Ethan John, DB, ankle out. Mackay Polk, wide receiver, foot out. Robert Priester, DB, Achilles out. Kendall Randolph, offensive line, knee out. And Alex Tubner, DB, hamstring out.
On the other side of things?
On the other side of things, we have Elijah Alston, D-line back available. David Beard, offensive line, neck questionable. Tamari Fox, defensive line, arm out. Kenny Logan, DB, knee out. Royce Metier, DB, hamstring doubtful. Sherrick Powell, running back, calf available. Joseph Robicelli, wide receiver, hamstring out. Ben Segmula, DB, knee out. And Carter O'Donnell, questionable.
So I'm going to let you get started on the Toronto side of things, and then I think I'll cover the Elks here.
Okay, so for Toronto, left to right, you have Coxie with Bland at left tackle, Hunter at left guard, center Nakastra and Kolinkowski, Shipley and Free Yugi Danilo. As definitely butchered that name, I apologize. Number 56 for the Argos. Right guard, Kemp. Right tackle, David Unger, the third at wide receiver. Slot back, going from one side of the field to the other. You have Common and Polk spots. You have Caesar and Kazar and Parazalis. Kelly, Arbuckle, and Horn as your quarterbacks. Hicks and Smith as running backs. Metal and Ohm as slot backs. Jumping, hurling. Herschel is making his Argos season debut, playing his first game this season with Janarian Grant as his backup. On the defensive side, you have Johnson and Lemon on the boundary side. Tua and Hendricks at defensive tackle. Hawley at the other defensive tackle spot. Defensive end is Jonathan Kongvo and Shand. Cameron Judge with Raymond and Hermiala. Dark Angelo McKenzie. Pickett and Slywitka. And then secondary, you have Franklin, Caesar, Bubba Bolden, Hickey, Amos, and then McFadden and Gauthier. Oh, and I forgot, obviously, special teams, Lidster and Pernip, kicker and punter, and Guillemette as the long snapper. And then obviously your kick returner is Janarian Grant.
And you remembered your special teams this time.
Yes.
So getting into it on the Elks side of things. So for Edmonton, Cody Fajardo is going to be starting with Powell and Snyder behind him. No change there at quarterback. For that offensive line, it's going to be Bordner, O'Donnell, Beard, Boyko, as well as Murray. For the running backs, it's going to be Justin Rankin with Javon Leake behind him, with Griffith over at fullback. For that receiver core, for the Elks on the left-hand side, it's going to be Austin Mack at wide receiver with Cephas at slot back. And then starting on the right-hand side, it's going to be Julian Grant at wide receiver with O'Leary Orange and TJ Luther as at slot back. They actually, it looks like they have something mislabeled here on theirs.
What's that?
O'Leary Orange should be slot back, but they just have R there, and he's not
Oh,
a. That's not their returner. So that's an error on theirs, but Kettle is then behind. But they play him at slot back. That's where you usually see. But a little bit of an error on the Elks depth chart, but that's fine. On the defensive line, on the defensive side of things for the Elks, Carney, Brinkman, Meyer, and Taylor is going to be that starting four with, I see Robbie Smith behind at backup, along with many others like Hubert and Curtis and Bastone and whatnot. Over at linebackers, it's going to be Dublanco, Nick Anderson, and Jackson as your three linebackers for Edmonton. Ross, Reed,
Nick.
Garnes, Johnson, and Ford. Terrell Ford is going to be that secondary for the Edmonton Elks. And at special teams, it's going to be Vincent Blanchard with Julian Hladek, as well as Javon Leake, who will be their kick/punt returner. So, for Edmonton in this game, I think kind of, if you think about maybe potentially some of the key things, they gave up 48 points last week to Montreal. Now, Montreal had been a bit exceptional, and not to say that Toronto has not been capable at all. They had a good win against Calgary and a bit of an upset one, caused VA to throw his first 2 picks of the year. But Montreal was a different beast. But we'll have to see what they're able to do against Edmonton. Toronto looking to go 2 straight wins against Alberta teams. And if we take a look here, Fajardo last game, he had a bit of a decent performance. He had a decent performance. I say decent, like not great. He goes 231 passing yards, 21 for 35. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Could be better, not setting the world on fire. Justin Rankin went 62 rushing yards in that game, but 8.9 yards on average. So we'll have to see if Rankin can really get going the way he was at the start of the season. Last game, though, was just kind of okay. Austin Mack has been a bit of a priority for Cody Fajardo, but I am curious to see if in this game he's willing to toss that ball around a bit. So we will have to see.
The question I had is, what kind of rest is Herschel gonna have, because he hasn't played at all, and can Chad Kelly clean up his game?
That's
Because
the other part.
last
Yeah.
week he threw 4 interceptions, and with this team that they're playing this week, you throw 4 interceptions, you are not winning.
Yeah.
Not against the Elks.
Well, and that was how the Elks had racked up some of their early wins in the year. Do you remember that? It was just them forcing turnovers. That was allowed them to really just take a game that was close and turn it into an Elks win. Was just them forcing turnovers and keeping control of the ball on
You know
offense.
what?
So,
Have they? No, they haven't played yet. So this is the first time this season Edmonton and Toronto are playing each other.
yeah. But shall we get into the predictions?
We
The old
shall.
Dutch Pick'ems crew, because the Pick'ems group for this is a 4-1 Elks over Argos. Four people chose Edmonton. 1 chose Toronto on the English side of things. It was just Matt Cause taking the Argos. Notably, one of the better records actually for the English staff. Then for the French, they all chose Edmonton. None of them chose Toronto. If I go over to the CFL game zone to take
Yep.
a look at the fan vote is 81% in favor of Edmonton, 19% in favor of the Argos. So that then leaves it with Rick. Where do we stand?
I am. This will be the 1 week. I don't cheer for that. Oh, just like you, when you can't cheer for your Riders, your arch nemesis. I'm not cheering for the double blue this week. I'm going with the Elks.
I am also going with the Elks. I think the Elks have shown what they can do. There's a lot that they've been able to prove this
Not
season.
not until Chad Kelly can clean up his game.
Yeah, that's fair. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like, share it around, and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, without further ado, we'll see you guys next time.